I actually make the distinction between nature and Mother Gaia because everything in the natural realms, and we're part of nature, humans are part of nature, has evolved here on the planet from the very first cell in the, the early waters of the planet, whatever, close to 3 billion years ago.
My guest today is remarkable woman, the founder of the executive director of the Great Mother Love Way, Gaia mystic and high priestess, visionary, healer, and award-winning author. She's deeply committed to helping birth the new earth, healing both the feminine and the masculine, and inspiring others to reconnect with Mother Gaia. It is my honor and great joy to welcome Mare Cromwell to Whispers of the Soul. Welcome, Mare.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Mare, your journey toward Mother Gaia began with asking other people about their relationship with the divine. What changed when you stopped interviewing beings and began interviewing Mother Earth itself?
So what led to that change?
What changed for you, or what led to that change?
Well, okay. I like the way you word that question. Yes, I did put a book out called If I Gave You God's Phone Number. And for 7 years, I interviewed close to 50 people and asked them the question, if I gave you God's phone number, what would you do with it? So I was fascinated with this idea of communicating with the divine and asking people what they would do if they could do that. Not knowing at that time where my life was headed. And as I was working on that book, I started studying with a Cherokee medicine woman, and I apprenticed with her for 14 years. And then she and I parted ways in late 2010. So my rapport with Earth Mother, Mother Gaia, was already growing in the process of studying with this Cherokee woman. So fast forward then to 2012, I had befriended an Algonquin medicine man after I'd parted ways with the Cherokee teacher. And he was very gifted, and he worked very closely with, he called her Gaia. And Gaia actually appeared to him one time on a trail when he was hiking and gave him this really long message. Said, I am Gaia, you know me as Gaia. So in early May of 2012, Gaia reached out to him and asked if he would do a ceremony with me, if the two of us would do a ceremony, but he needed to ask me since she was the one requesting it through him. And she said to him in that request that this was going to be healing for her. And we didn't know what that meant. But anyway, he contacted me, and I immediately said yes, because I already knew at a very deep level that my life was to serve Mother and our planet. And then late May 20, a couple of weeks after that, just like 3 weeks after that, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had lymphoma. And I was freaking out, as you can imagine that you would be if you had a cancer diagnosis. But I was still determined and committed to doing this ceremony with this Algonquin man. So I still got in my car 3 days later for our scheduled time to meet in a forest along, it's not really important where, but it was a huge forest near the edge of Pennsylvania, near the New York state line, because he came from the north and I came from the south. And just prior to starting the ceremony, he said to me, I'm going to be bringing Gaia's energy and conscious into your energy body, but I don't know how you're going to disconnect. And I immediately said, I'm not worried. I know, my life is to serve Mother. And right at the end of the ceremony, she started talking to me. And it was like this booming voice came into my head, which was not my thinking. It was very clearly, I didn't come up with that. And she said to me, if you surrender to me to the extent I will ask you to surrender, I will help you heal from the cancer without the doctors. And I was just, I was full on, well, yes, because I was terrified. And And then things started happening really fast, where, there were just all these miracles that started happening. But one of the things that happened was, one, my car went an extra 110 miles on full about a week and a half after that. And then it started going down normally, and I was thinking, oh my God, my engine's breaking down. I have to go to the mechanic, and I'm living off my savings. And I'd started another book at that time. And I was actually on my way to the ocean, to the shoreline on the Atlantic in Maryland and Virginia, because Mother had called me there, not knowing what was going to happen. And when the gas gauge started going down normally, I turned to Mother, because she and I had been talking, but at the time the gas gauge was being weird. I wasn't talking to her. I'm like looking at it going, this is so strange. What's happening? Is it broken? But when it started going down normally, I said to her, you must be doing this. And she said, yes, this is so you can trust me. I'm taking care of you. Mm-hmm. So when I got to the ocean, and I was there for a couple of days, I was doing ceremony, on the beach, in the hotel room, and she basically said, I want you to do this book with me. And she gave me the title, Messages from Mother Earth Mother, and she gave me the chapter headings for the 13 chapters in it. And she gave me the first full message, too. And that was to us women, her human daughters. And she basically said, I want you to put the other book aside. I don't want you to do that one. And I'd surrendered, so I said yes. So this is how it started. Mm-hmm. And she really got me, I was diagnosed with cancer. And the good news is that within a year and 4 or 5 months, I was clear of the cancer without the doctor's support. And my physician couldn't believe I had done it. I was avoiding him. I never saw an oncologist for that entire time. There were all these spontaneous ceremonies that happened. Trees were healing me. I was so tucked under Mother's wing that she had basically full control of my life, And I put the book out, and our book was written in 5 weeks. And then it was out 2 months later, because she knew I already knew how to self-publish a book. So that was my first book with her. And then she asked me a year later, right around the time, the reason they knew that my lymph nodes were all back to normal was I had a gallbladder attack, and so they had to do another CT scan. And it revealed that almost all my lymph nodes, other than one, were back to normal. And the one that wasn't was only slightly enlarged. And right around that time, she likes to wake me up at 5 a.m. to really get my attention and give me these downloads and these messages. She said to me right around that time, at 5 a.m, she said, I want you to write the Great Mother Bible now. Mm-hmm. And that was my second book with her, which I balked at. I was like, that's too big of a title. I can't do a book with the word Bible in the title. And the Great Mother as the prelude to the Bible. And she insisted, she said, you're the one. You're the one, all you need to do is listen. So all my books are award-winning. And I'm working on another one right now with Mother called Gaia's Web of Love.
You mentioned the Great Mother Bible, where you speak about the sacred feminine aspect of the Creator. What do the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine mean to you?
I use the terms divine feminine and divine masculine more these days, just put that out there. I think actually in that book I say sacred feminine. I'm trying to remember, because that book came out more than 10 years ago. The divine feminine is the highest, most evolved aspect of who we are as the feminine. And we also have the masculine within us. We're all meant to be a balance of the masculine and feminine. And when we do our work, our spiritual work, do our healing work, we are continuing to rise into a very high frequency of embodying both of these aspects. And we, from that place or that evolution in our journey, we connect more and more with more divine feminine ones in the spirit realms, because we're in the physical, we're humans, and we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. I'm sure you've heard that. And so the divine masculine would be the same, but related to the masculine and the really high spiritual attributes of what is the purest divine archetypal energies of the masculine, which we have been sorely lacking in our Western culture for centuries and centuries. I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah, isn't because the return of the divine feminine, what I observe is sometimes misunderstood and is kind of replacing the masculine power with the feminine power. What does it truly heal, or what does the healed partnership between the feminine and masculine looks like? Because I think we are misunderstanding what divine feminine is. I don't know if you see it, but very often I see kind of like women, they say they are goddesses, but in fact they emasculate the man with their power instead of to be really in the divine feminine power. That it doesn't mean to be men.
Excuse me.
It's hard to explain, but
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. Hold on for a second. All right. That is a really, really good question. First of all, and I'm saying this with the deepest of compassion, just because someone calls himself a goddess and is putting that title out there to the world doesn't necessarily mean that they have done all the inner work to embody the divine feminine. And it sounds to me like what you are observing, and I have observed this too, and I've actually had to look at this within myself to some degree and change some of the things that I do and my woundedness. We all still have a woundedness. That's part of why we're here, is to continue to heal. And so when a woman is emasculating a man, it comes from a place of a woundedness within her, of not really embodying a deeper understanding of what the divine feminine is and the role of compassion. And also, what is the true meaning of divine feminine power? Because divine feminine power is, the way I characterize it, is the power within ourselves to hold ourselves in our strength. It is not a power over. The wounded masculine aspect or model of power is power over. And that has not been serving for thousands of years. It comes from an imbalance. And so I would say that what you're witnessing are women who have still the wounded masculine within them. And it's revealing itself in how they treat men. They haven't done all the inner work they need to.
can connection with Mother Gaia help in healing?
Well, yes. First of all, we're all meant to be really connected with Mother. You know, we're all meant to be connected with her energetically from our hearts. And I actually lead a Mother's Love Cord meditation that's free on my website to help people bond with her. Because at one time, all of our ancestors were energetically connected with her from our root chakras, our womb spaces. And it got cut off. I would say yes, a relationship and a deep connection with Mother will help. But at the same time, it also needs to be a conscious awareness and willingness to heal. It has to come from within and our willingness. And if the woman is not conscious that she's acting like that, then that's the first step, is somehow it comes to her, it's made known to her that this is what she is embodying. It's what her behavior is acting out and doing.
So let's get back to Mother Gaia, because that's what your, let's say, primal focus, because we often speak about Gaia, about Mother Gaia. There are many events dedicated to helping Gaia, healing Gaia, whatever you say. Mare, who is Gaia? Can you?
Yeah. I love your questions, by the way. They're really, really good. I call her Mother Gaia. She is our planetary caretaker. She is a very, very powerful spiritual being who actually came from off planet to take on the role of being our planetary caretaker. And her role is to work very, very closely with all sorts of spiritual councils, spiritual beings, to further evolution and to further full ascension here on Earth at this time. So when people think about Archangel Michael or that's always any of the archangels, I mean, they're spiritual beings. They are not the same type as Mother Gaia. And every planet in our solar system has a planetary caretaker. So Venus's planetary caretaker is more feminine. We happen to live on a planet where our planetary caretaker is feminine. So there's very strong divine feminine procreative energy here on Earth. Mars has a more masculine planetary caretaker. And from what I understand, throughout the entire universe, every planet has a planetary caretaker.
Can you explore more in detail on this topic?
Yeah. Do you want to ask me a really specific question there, or?
What do you mean?
Do you want to ask me a really specific question, like a direction for me to go in, or?
Because you are talking about Gaia itself, about her partner Guy, about
Geodesica?
Yeah. You talk about
You have done your homework.
many beings that are here that we can work with, that we can support and be supported by. So maybe explore more about, because I think it can help people to orient.
Sure. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking and I'm tuning into Mother, like, how does she want me to respond to this? Mother Gaia has a partner. The term I was taught to use is, I don't know if you hear that thunder. We're having a big storm here right now.
I love storms, so.
I just hope our Wi-Fi, our internet stays intact. So Mother Gaia has a divine masculine partner. And when he was discovered by some really gifted light workers, they asked, what can we call you? And he said, you can call me Guy. So I spell it G-U-Y. And they have children. And the first child was given the name Geodesica because she, if you can see her on the spirit realm, some people can see spirit really clearly, she has the shape of a geodesic dome, or geodesic shape, and she can actually shapeshift into other sacred geometric patterns. I don't see, I more feel and I hear, but I have friends who can see. Whoa.
Wow.
That was really close. That was like right over there. That is not Mother Gaia or Guy talking to us though right now. Those are the thunder beings having a party. So Mother Gaia and Guy have other children too. I don't know them so well, but I call on them when I lead my Great Mother Love Way classes, because I always call on the spirit teams before we start every class just to create a really beautiful bubble of energy. And all of these children come in with geodesica like a big dancing party. It's all about joy and celebration and sparkliness and activating. And so Mother Gaia is more powerful through her divine sacred union relationship with Gaia. It's the two of them together and the way they merge their energies that make for a more powerful presence and role here on Earth. So it's the two of them really together. And a lot of people don't know this, you know, but all over the realms of our planet and off planet, all these sacred beings, almost all of them have sacred union partners. You know, the devas to the mountains, like I live here in the mountains in West Virginia. What am I saying? North Carolina. I don't know why I say West Virginia. The devas of the mountains here, and if you don't know what a deva is, it's the overarching nature spirit of the mountains, and there's devas of valleys and lakes and rivers. They all have a sacred union partner. This is how the planet works. And it's not just the planet, it's the universal realms. And so anyway, so getting back to Mother Gaia and Guy, they have many councils they work with. I work with some of them. One of them I call Mother's Foremost Council, which is made up of beings here on Earth and within Earth that are really, really high spiritually evolved beings, like the Emperor Dragon of the planet is on their council, and his Empress, and those are the terms I give them. There are nature spirits on the council that are very, very high level ones, you know, it goes on and on from there. And then there's another council that Mother Gaia sits on, actually with the Virgin Mary, that is based off planet, and that is within the family of one. And that's a divine feminine council and a divine masculine council that are together as the family of one. So I'm getting a little complicated here, but this gives you a sense of the complications, the complexities of, and those are only two councils that Mother sits on, is active with. I know she's on far more. I mean, I'm privy to maybe this much of what she does.
I don't think it's complicated. It's very similar to our physical world, you know. We have many organizations, you know, and all this stuff, and they have their consuls and all this stuff. So
I guess
it works on the spiritual level. It's working as on our physical level, of course, in different dimensions. But I imagine it like, yes, it works as well as our physical world, but it has different rules and different dimensions and
yeah, so many different dimensions, many different dimensions. So yeah, I hear what you're saying.
You're talking about working with spirits. And there are many spirits in the realm of energies. How do we know that we are in connection? Because there are channeling, you know, and working with spirits and calling spirits with the work and all this stuff, the new age stuff people like to do. How do we know that we call to the spirits that is the spirit that is saying that is the spirit, the first thing, and also that the spirit has the same agenda as the Mother Gaia has, because there are many benevolent beings, but they don't necessarily have to have the same agenda as the Gaia has. So how do we know that we are in connection with spirit that has the same agenda?
Right. You know, one of my, okay, it's really important to filter who we are working with on the spirit plane. And I was taught this years ago by some of my teachers, and I teach it in my courses. And so when a spiritual being comes in that is a new being, and I haven't connected with them before, and I feel them and I can hear them, I always filter them, and I ask them several questions. Sometimes it's 3 questions, sometimes it's 4. I ask, are you in alignment with the Christ consciousness? Are you of 100% luminous love? And I also say, are you in alignment with the family of one, which is what I was just talking about, the council off planet, the councils that are very, very high level spiritual beings. And then for me, with my work of surrender to Mother, I ask, are you in alignment with Mother Gaia's highest good for divine plan alignment? And if they can't give me an emphatic yes, 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 then I say you need to leave. And I'll ask my teams to clear them. So that's what I do. And sometimes it's tricky. Well, there are lots of tricksters. I've been fooled. I'm always on my learning curve. But no, it's very important to filter. And I can tell sometimes when somebody says that they're working with the Christed one, and I immediately get this, no. I can just sense it. So, am I accurate with that? I have to trust my guidance. I have to trust what I get. And I have a really good friend that I work with, and he and I talk a lot. And we're constantly checking with each other. And he works very high dimensionally. So it's always good to have a partner who can be a backup for you. Yeah.
And how can we remember and restore our primal connection with Mother Earth? Because I think we forgot the connection we used to have, or our ancestors had, with the land, with planet as a whole.
Well, the first thing is to recognize that she exists. And to feel your love for her. Like in your heart, feel your love for her. So it's a waking up process, because we have been dumbed down, and the connection with her got cut. So to me, the next step is, and this is where I encourage people to go to my website, it's free, to cultivate this love cord connection. Because Mother gave me a message in January 2013 after I'd put out the first book with her messages from Earth Mother. And she said, I miss my children, my beloved human children, being connected with me energetically. Because at one point, all of our ancestors were. And there are many people, indigenous peoples have never lost the connection. African people, they still have the connection for a great, large part. But it starts with acknowledging that she is real and she's very powerful. She's our foremost mother, and I consider her the ultimate healer. She helped me heal from the cancer without the doctors, through her and all of her sacred ones, the trees, the nature spirits, the waters. But it's to, and it can be, if you don't have the chance to do that meditation, to just visualize a love cord from your heart going to your root chakra and straight to Mother's heart, a cord of energy that goes right to the center of her heart. And she'll know you're doing it. And you can call out to her, say, hey, hello, Mother, I love you. I want to connect with you far more sacredly, powerfully. And then once the end of it reaches her heart, she's actually opening her heart to you then. She opens your heart to that end of the cord and brings it right to her center. And you can ask her to send her love back up. And then you start to cultivate this connection that only gets deeper and deeper. And I don't know if you're feeling that as I'm saying it, but I'm feeling it as I'm talking about it. Yeah.
I forgot my question.
You're feeling Mother's energy coming in.
Uh, what is the difference between loving nature and being in conscious relationship with Mother Gaia? Because there are many people, they love the nature and they say, I love the nature, and whoa. But what is the difference between really conscious relationship?
I actually make the distinction between nature and Mother Gaia because everything in the natural realms, and we're part of nature, humans are part of nature, has evolved here on the planet from the very first cell in the, the early waters of the planet, whatever, close to 3 billion years ago. Mother Gaia is the our planetary caretaker. She's a spiritual being who has merged into the planet. So her energy now is embodied in all of nature. But she is a distinctly different spiritual being. So when people say they love nature, that to me is beautiful and needed. And we should all be loving nature. We should also be, embracing ourselves as part of nature and living in balance with nature. We've gotten so far away from that. So I would say in the journey of connecting and loving Mother Gaia, loving nature is integral, because her energy is infused through all of it. And they're all her beloved children. The trees are her children, the nature spirits, the animals, the birds. We, with all of these sacred ones, are her beloved children. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. You mentioned primal waters, and you also have your global water grid. Water and its intelligence. Could you explore on the topic, the intelligence of water?
I'm gonna try, but I don't fully understand it. Yeah, I mean, water is conscious. Water has memory. Water is really a mystery. Mother told me 1.5 years ago that water is liquid love. All the water here on Earth came from off planet. It didn't source from here. And I actually did a webinar, a co-led webinar with a really gifted Dutch nature spirit mystic friend, which I encourage everyone to get. It's called Water Speaks. And within that webinar, we actually tap into the mother of water, the father of water, the mermaids, all the water dragons. There are all sorts of different beings that live in our water that have different consciousness. And their role is very, very important in keeping the vitality and the energy of the water high so that it is vibrant and it is filled with life force and it is doing what it's supposed to be doing here on Earth. And they're having to overcome a lot of the contamination and what we've done to the waters that has really weakened the vital force of water. Last summer, almost 1 year ago, I connected with the heart of water. And that was as a lead up to the Water Speaks webinar that I was doing with my friend, which is available on my website to purchase, pre-recorded now.
I'll put down I'll put the links down.
Sorry?
That I will put
That'd
the
be
link
great.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So at the time last summer, when my friend Corliss and I met initially a couple months before the webinar started, we were tuning in and we were already getting guidance like what was meant to come forward in this webinar. It's a 2-session webinar. But we both were getting the messages that there was going to be more we were going to download. We hadn't gotten all the information yet. All the right beings hadn't come in yet to make themselves known to us. And I was yearning to connect with the consciousness of water, which you could call the intelligence of water. And so I was doing a lot of water ceremony really early in the morning, like morning after morning. It was in August, and I'm up at like 6 in the morning doing water ceremony. And when I do it, I pour sacred water in my bathtub. I have water from over 3,000 places around the planet, and I'm calling on the spirit teams. And so I started calling out on the spirit plane, seeking to connect with the consciousness of water, knowing that this was a consciousness that was off planet. And one morning I heard this term come into my head as I'm in the bathtub doing ceremony. And I heard heart of water. And I felt this energy come into my bathtub and into me and all the water within me. And I was like, wow, it is a very high spiritual frequency. And I'd been working for a couple of weeks before that with a divine feminine council of beings off planet. They had come in and they were blessing me and activating me with my work. And I knew this was connected to them. And so when I met with Cornelius the following week, I said, Cornelius, I need to tell you about this and introduce this to you. And he tuned in when he received the energy, when I said, calling on the heart of water. And he said, he said, he saw that it was a divine feminine frequency. He said, this used to be infused in water all over the universe, but it got excised. Some denser beings cut it out. And so it's time now for it to come back. And I don't know why it is that I have received this. I know I'm not the only person, because I've tuned in and there are a couple other people on the planet who have gotten this transmission. And so one of my roles now with Mother is to activate as many people as possible with this. And I'm actually offering a couple of webinars coming up, one in a couple of days on Sunday and one at the end of, on August 23rd. People can register, it's sliding scale, to receive the activation of the heart of water. So maybe I'm getting kind of far afield with you. We're still trying. When I say we humans, I mean Veda Austin in New Zealand is doing tremendous work to better understand water, and I'm getting these spiritual transmissions. This is what's happening for me. And I will also add, because that's what you were leading to, is that introducing as many people to the heart of water at this time for me is a lead up to the next 1,000 Goddesses Gathering Global Grid, which is coming up on September 20th, Sunday. And everyone is invited to be part of that. And what it is, it's a unified field. It's a global grid of ceremonies around the world in different locations. People doing water ceremony, women. It's the 1,000 goddesses, so it's the divine feminine actively coming forward, calling on our spirit teams, calling on the heart of water, and pouring our love into the waters where we live, a stream, a lake, a river, the shoreline, the ocean, and activating those waters and asking for healing for our global waters. And all of these ceremonies are woven together then as a global matrix of healing for the planet and because everyone is touched by water. Yeah.
We are water.
We are water. Yeah, I hear different percentages, but I think we're close to 70% water.
Yeah. Yes, someone says 70, someone says 80, but we know that we are mostly water. Let's agree that we're
mostly water. Yeah. And I hope, Sharka, that you're part of this on September 20th.
Yes, definitely.
I hope you join us.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
And please register. Whoever's listening to this, please register so we can put you on the map. And that way we can look at the map and envision how we're weaving all the ceremonies together. And the registration is free or by donation. I'm always encouraging donations because it's a lot of work on my part organizing this. But please, that would be fantastic.
Why 1,000 goddesses?
That comes from a Tibetan prophecy that when 1,000 goddesses or Tibetan Taras unite, it will shift the tone of our sacred earth from fear to compassion. And I discovered this prophecy through a woman on Facebook Her name is Claire Dubois, and back in 2015, she was still the founder and director of Tree Sisters. And she was referring to that prophecy as a way to encourage women to donate, to help reforest the planet. It was beautiful, beautiful work. And as soon as I read that prophecy in her post, Mother Gaia said to me, and you're going to organize that in the physical. I'm like, what? 1,000 goddesses convening in the physical. And I thought, and you're going to help me, right, Mother? I mean, I didn't think I said that to her. And she said, of course. So the first event was in the fall of 2016, a little bit less than a year later. And we didn't have, it was on the Washington Mall. It was a huge undertaking. I thought we were going to do like a weekend retreat and have 1,000 women convene and vendors and tickets and all that and register. No. Mother woke me up at 5 a.m. in July 2016. She said, this needs to happen in DC before the elections. So I'm like, gulp, okay, when do you want this? And she's, basically it was like 2.5 months from that day. I'm like, okay, I'll scramble. And it worked out. It was a challenge, but it worked out. So we had close to 350, 400 people convene. Wow. And we did high ceremony on the Washington Mall. And I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea why Mother wanted this. But what happened, I know there are many things that happened, but one of the key things that happened that several light workers witnessed was a massive conduit of white light came into the center of our ceremony, right into the middle, radiated into the ground about 60 feet, radiated out about 3 miles, and cleared all these dense energies from the heart of DC. It was White House, the Capitol building, the Pentagon, apparently. And this woman, I wrote a spiritual report about it afterwards, after I got the report from that light worker. And so everybody who had registered, I sent out a spiritual report to say, this is what happened. And people were like crawling off the mall. They were either dancing ecstatically or they were just so wiped. They kind of found their way gradually back to the metro or their cars. But a woman contacted me right after I put that email out, and she said, I need to tell you something. I work in the Pentagon. A lot of people don't know I do that. And right after that goddess gathering, the energy was different in the Pentagon. There was a lot less shadow masculine energy. And I was really taken back by that. So that was a validation. She said, I thought it was me, but now I'm realizing it was the whole ceremony that we did. It was very powerful. And we did it again 2 years later on the Washington Mall. And again, there was a conduit of white light that came in, a massive conduit. And from what this light worker said, it came from the great central sun. And she said it was divine masculine energy that came in. And just... And sometimes when I talk about it, I can feel the energy coming in. And I know that space there on the Washington Mall, which is kind of in a tucked away corner, the Park Service put us in this little corner, which I realized afterwards was perfect. I know that the land there is still somewhat activated by this energy.
You speak about ceremonies and about the work you do, and it's quite a lot of work. And very often we can see that people kind of, when someone speaks about spirituality and animal communication, land communication, Gaia communication, there are the skeptics who say, oh yeah, woo woo, kind of mumbo jumbo and all this stuff or nonsense. But in fact, there is quite a lot of work and it needs discipline, right? Because it's kind of like, we also use the mobile phones, and because we don't see the frequencies that are behind the 4 or 5, I don't know how many Gs, it's not there, and it doesn't mean that it does not influences us. And the same is with the spiritual work, but it needs the discipline, right? and do it and work with it?
Yes, it definitely needs discipline. Your questions are really good.
Thank you.
I'm trying to figure out what you're getting at, because one is the discipline to commit to, like, every morning I wake up and I have to do my morning ceremony. If I don't, my day doesn't flow well. It's like I need to connect with my spirit team, still myself, come into my heart, and from that place my day flows. And I know that my teams, they're with me regardless, but I really feel them, and I feel supported by them, and I am in a kind of a higher spiritual place because of my morning ceremonies. So you could say that's a discipline. It's also a discipline, like as we were talking before, about really discerning who I'm working with on the spirit plane. It's a discipline with my mind. You know, we all have busy minds. Our society is really good at monkey mind. And this is an ongoing challenge for me, stilling my mind, dropping to my heart, you know, being grounded. I'm one of these people that tends to fly out. You know, it's how I coped with my childhood. It was a pretty intense childhood, a lot of chaos. And so my way of operating, starting as a young child, was to disassociate. And so it's an ongoing discipline. Be in my body, be grounded. I mean, this is my sacred temple. I wasn't really taught that early on, but I've learned that. Yeah.
What I want to point out that it's activity like any other else. You know, we go to work, and if we want to change something on the energetic level, we still have to work with the energies. The work has to be done, and because on YouTube, on the internet, you can see many videos how somebody woke up one morning and was communicating with animals and was doing energetic work and got this and that, and it seems like you have to have it like this on just in one moment, but the work that it's behind the energetic work, it's very often overlooked, and it seems like that we've been born with it without any effort in the work, and we were born with it. But we have to practice it, we have to train it, we have to do it.
Yes. It's an ongoing practice. I mean, there are times I don't hear Mother very clearly, you know, because I'm too caught up in my thoughts, my fears, you know, my woundedness. And it's an ongoing practice to still myself, to ground myself and tune in. So anybody who is a really good animal communicator, it is a practice, and you have to keep on honing it. I mean, and some people have a really high aptitude for it, but we do all have the capacity to tune in. It's just a lot harder for some people, and a lot of people aren't, you know, interested in even doing that. But the beautiful thing is that a lot of people are. And it's helping us understand and wake up to all of the intelligence that is around us, and how wise they are, and how they are our teachers. You know, the indigenous people, Native Americans say creature teachers. I mean, I always love it when a messenger is sent to me by Mother to get my attention, like hummingbirds. She sends me hummingbirds to kind of remember the joy, don't get bogged down. So, you know, I'm looking right now at this forest, just outside our house. And I have a number of friends who are extraordinary tree communicators, better than I am. And one of them said to me, because I did a webinar called, what was it called? Anyway, Sacred Sentience with Trees or something like that. It's on my YouTube channel now, all the 3 webinars in this series. But this one woman, Basha Alexander, said to me, she said, you know, Mare, trees don't just have a heart, they are heart. They're all love. And they are offering this to us all the time, you know. And then there are trees that are really ancient ones that meditate together around the planet. They're very aware of each other all around the planet, the great mother trees. I mean, some of the stories I've heard from some of my friends, they just blow me away. So much intelligence. But the beautiful thing is a lot more people are waking up to that. And this is all part of the shifting on the planet of coming into our new earth. But yes, discipline.
Yeah, why do you think Mother Gaia uses humor? Because is humor simply part of our own personality, or is it one of the ways that helps us lower our defense and the truly listen to the nature or to the Mother Gaia or to animals, whatever we work with?
So your question is, why does she use humor?
Why does Mother Gaia uses humor?
You know, humor and silliness is really high medicine. It raises us up energetically to a higher level. And Mother and those in the spirit realms, when I do ceremony, they tell me, you're too serious. Humans are too serious. You should be living a lot more celebration. You should be living a lot more joy and fun. You should be having a lot more fun. You're supposed to be celebrating life here in the incarnate. So that is my understanding. And you know, the spirit realms have a lot of humor. They're very entertained by us. Often I hear them giggling because of something someone said to me or something I said, and they start giggling. I'm like, oh, they think we're so funny. We are really funny.
Yeah, we are.
And we take ourselves way too seriously. I think that's one of the aspects of Western society that we really need to shed, is too much heaviness, too much seriousness. I mean, we could go on and on there because there's so much cultural conditioning that we need to release, heal, release.
So humor and joy is the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of the when we talked about Mother Gaia and Gaia's children, you know, Geodesica is all about sparkly, fun energy, dancing. All about that. But she's much more than that too. Like, she really goes around with her team. She now has all these teams that love her, like crystal being teams, and they activate different parts of the planet to raise the frequency. It's just ongoing. She's gotten very powerful.
Thank you, Mer, for all the wisdom you shared with us. Any last thoughts that you would share with us?
Yeah, Mother loves you. She loves us beyond words, and she's calling us home. So I encourage people to feel her in your heart. And if you can, do the love cord meditation on my website. And please join us for the 1,000 Goddesses Gathering Global Grid, Heart of Water Global Grid. Yeah, it's very powerful.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
I'm honored that you reached out to me. Very honored.
It was amazing. Thank you very much.